Hey everybody, this is Kazan from Survivors Gaming Union, and this is my YouTube series Stank to Tank, where basically I go over how I'm learning to tank in ESO. Uh, this is the very first video. It's going to go over what you do from the point where you create your character up to the point where you start the main storyline. There are a lot of very specific things that I do, so let's get into it. Right, so the very first thing you'll see me do here is you got to put your settings together. There are several of them to go through, video, audio, gameplay, um, and here I'm just going through the audio ones. I like to turn the music volume down a little bit just so it's not too loud. Gameplay, you're going to see there is the friendly color and the enemy color. These are defaulted. I think friendly color is defaulted to green, but enemy color is defaulted to red. I like to change it to a color that you can see really well below your feet. You'll see that's what it looks like right there. And that's what the green one looks like. So that's when you know you're standing in something good or you're standing in something bad. Um, Nothing worse than you're following the strategy, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and you don't notice a puddle underneath of you because everybody else has a bunch of puddles drop down. So I like to do that. Auto loot is a necessity. Just turn it on, leave it on. It's good to go. So camera, here's something I learned very recently. I noticed a lot of YouTube videos that people's cameras were way out further than mine. So you go to third person, push it all the way up to 130%. Um, not very much that I change in interface. For nameplates, I usually turn them on. I'm going to leave them off here for a couple minutes. Social, this is where you're able to turn your profanity filter on and off, turn the leaderboard notifications on and off, and you're able to assign colors to specific texts in your chat. Combat ability bar, I always set it to always show, and I set the debuffs to always show. And that will make sure that they're always on the screen so you can keep track of what's going on. All right, so we've just started. We're going to run up here. We're going to claim our first reward for leveling. And we're going to assign ourselves our skill points. So we're going to drop a couple points here into health, me being a tank. As I'm leveling, I like to put it all into health. If I feel like once I have my build, once I make it to level 50, I need more, then I'll do that. And also what I'll do is I'll go through here and I'll pick one of each of your 3 class lines. You want to get those on your bar immediately so that they can start leveling, because you're basically going to want at some point to level all of your class skills. At least that's what I do. So, and then we're going to put our gear on that we get for free. Once we get our gear on for free, we're going to go through here and we're going to do a really quick thing that's going to help you out in the long run. Basically, you're going to take the 3 weapons that you have, the bow, the 2-handed sword, and the fire staff, and we're going to acquire those skill lines. So I grab a pig, I kill a pig. There you go. I get the 2-handed skill line. Then I'm going to switch over to the bow. Once I switch over to the bow, I'm going to find another target. I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to acquire that skill line. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the fire staff. You'll see it takes me a little bit longer with the fire staff just because there are other people running around here doing the same thing. So grab the Inferno staff, put it on my bar, and I go and I find myself a target. Which isn't always the easiest thing to do. But for your weapon skills, you want to activate those as early as possible. You want to activate most of your skill lines as early as possible so that they can start leveling as you're leveling. You will have less grinding to do at the end once you reach level 50 in order to get the skill lines up to maximum level. And you'll see I turn the nameplates back on so I can find them a little bit easier. So at this point, it just gave up. I'm going to go up here and we need to kill one of these terror birds. And that will give me the skill line for the Inferno staff, or destruction staff skill line altogether. Now we're going to run here up to the fast travel point, to the Way Shrine, and basically there's one of three places you're going to go depending on what faction you're playing. For Aldmeri Dominion, you're going to come to Vulkhel Guard. Or you're going to go to Davin's Watch. Or you're going to go, where I'm going to go to Daggerfall for the Daggerfall Covenant. Now, immediately upon zoning into Daggerfall, you're going to run into a couple quest givers. The first one you should see is the hooded figure. Now, the hooded figure will give you the quest line to speak to the benefactor, and that quest line is the quest line that starts you down the main story. I highly recommend doing all of the main story prior to doing. It's kind of almost the first thing I do. This is Stuga. She's going to follow you around. She basically gives you the quest line taking you into Hrothgar, but we're not going to do that right now. I like to set my appearance and set my mount, so that I don't like to put headgear on, so at least not at a low level. It looks kind of dorky at low levels, but and then we're going to take off. And the first place I like to go typically is to pick up a couple more skill lines. And I do this before I start the main storyline, and you'll see why here in a few minutes. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come here to the Fighters Guild. Every main city has one. Go inside to the Fighters Guild. You're going to talk to the Hall Steward. Once you get to the Hall Steward, you talk to him, and you'll say, yes, I would like to join the Fighters Guild. Once you join the Fighters Guild, that will open up the Fighters Guild skill line for you. So you can see right there, I got Fighters Guild skill line. Now we're going to go back out into Daggerfall. And now we're going to go to the next place I like to go to, which is the Mages Guild. And we're going to get the Mages Guild skill line. The Fighter Guild skill line is primarily leveled by killing Daedra. The Mages Guild skill line is primarily leveled by collecting lore books. And you'll see those, they're going to be all over the place. You just keep collecting them. All right, so once I get those two skill lines done, next thing I like to do is go and unlock the Undaunted. The Undaunted skill line has a lot of skills on it that are very good for tanking. So I'm going to go to the tavern here in Daggerfall. I'm going to talk to Mighty Mordra, and she's going to tell me that I need to go to Spindle Clutch, and she's going to give me the skill line for Undaunted. Now, as far as going to Spindle Clutch, which is one of the dungeons, really all you have to do is go there. Once you acquire the message saying that you've located the dungeon, you don't have to do anything in it. It's very easy. So this is the map. That's where we're going to go to meet the benefactor. But before we do that, there's a couple other things that I like to do first. So these are the different skill lines that we've opened so far: Two-Handed Bow, Destruction Staff, the Fighters Guild skill line, the Mages Guild skill line, and the Undaunted. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go open some of our crafting skill lines. And the easiest way to do that is you're going to find two particular people, all right? You're going to find Milaneth, who is going to give you a short quest line that has you start crafting. and she takes care of crafting for blacksmith, clothiers, and woodworkers. Um, Based off the way that the city's laid out, I like to do woodworker first, just because it is the closest to where she's standing right now. Um, and then she'll have you go gather some resources first if you don't have them. If you already have them, then it'll skip over that part, but you'll go gather some resources first, you'll refine those resources, and then you will craft something. And then as you're doing all these steps, she will guide you through it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go collect some of the resources. But before I get the resources, very close over here is the Sky Shard. Sky Shard is a very easy way to collect skill points. For every 3 Sky Shards that you find, you get 1 skill point. And there is quite a number on each area. As you can see, there are Sky Shards that are inside of dungeons, inside of delves. There are Sky Shards that are just on the landscape all on their own. And the add-on that I have is called Sky Shards, and what it does is it adds it to your map so you can see where they are. You don't have to go try to find them haphazardly. Same thing with lore books. You can see there are lore books all over my map. It puts the lore books on there so that you're not worried about missing one. And you can see on the left-hand side of the screen is kind of a completion checker for each zone that you're in, and that allows you to check and see, what you've completed and what you haven't completed. But we're going to grab this crafting material. And you don't need any particularly really special crafting tools or anything like that. I know with a lot of other games you have to have crafting tools in order to gather material or to craft. But this one, it's just innately built into your character. That right there is Outlaw's Refuge. That's where you go to do Thieves Guild quest line, and you'll see there on the right side of the screen is a chest. In order to unlock the chest, you have to have a lockpick. So make sure you have lockpicks. You'll find them everywhere, so they're pretty easy to have. And it's just a little mini game here for you to unlock it. Basically, you press it down until it starts to wiggle a little bit, you hear it shake, and then once you find that sweet spot, it'll click in. If you hold it down too long, you'll break the lockpick, just like I did. And then you open it up, and that will give you another skill line, which is the Ledger Main skill line, and that's your skill line for, opening chests and things like that. And then this is your Soul Magic skill line, which allows you to collect and charge soul stones, which when you die in game, if you would like to res in place, it will require a soul stone. They're very easy to collect, and on one of those skill lines it will show you. It will allow you every time, give you a percentage every time you kill something to fill one of your stones. Otherwise, you have to do it manually by using the skill that is on the skill line. So what we're going to do here is she's requested that we craft a bow. So we're going to craft a bow. And this is just very quick, easy thing to do that will allow you to get a few levels under your belt before you start the main storyline. As you can see, there's weapon and armor. Armor is basically shields when it comes to woodworking. And then you can deconstruct, which is breaking down items in order to get crafting materials and more experience. You'll see those have little money bags next to them. That means that it's better to sell them. Those mean that they're intricate, which means that when you craft them, you get more experience in that skill line for deconning that particular item. These are your improvement mats, which allow you to move the item that you're crafting or an item that you have in your inventory from one particular class up to the next level. This shows you the different trait lines. There's a trait line for weapons, and there's a trait line for armor. There's also a trait line for jewelry. and based off of what your purpose is for having that particular piece of equipment while you're building it, you can add a trait to it, which will increase your stats or give you more mitigations, or it adds an effect to your armor. Or whatever it is that you're crafting. So we're going to craft the bow. We're going to take it back to her. She's going to be like, oh, great, good job. Now break it down. So it basically means we're just going to take it apart. One other thing I like to do, since I'm playing a tank, while I'm doing this part, I will craft myself a shield so that I can equip the shield. And then when I do the blacksmithing part, I will craft myself a one-handed weapon. And then I can equip both of those. I can go out into the land side and kill a mob, which will open up that one-handed shield skill line for me, and that will allow me to level that skill line, which is your main skill line as a tank. So there we go. I gained a level just by doing a crafting. Hooray for me. Right, so I'll assign my skill points, and then I will go back here and I will create that shield we were talking about as a tank. So I'll create the shield around level 4, so it goes level 1, level 4, 6, 8, about every 2 levels, all the way up to when you start crafting CP gear, and we'll talk about that in another video. So now we're doing the blacksmithing portion of her quest line, which means we're going to go find some ore. Once we find the ore, we're going to collect it, and then we're going to go to the blacksmithing station, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to fast forward through this, and I'm going to fast forward through the clothing one to get to the next section, which will go over the other skill lines that you get from the other person who will train you in provisioning, alchemy, and enchanting. Okay, so now I'm back. I stopped at this point because I wanted to go over something that I do here. So what I'll do is, once I'm finished with the clothing line for her, and she tells me to go talk to the other person, before I do that, I'm going to craft a minimum of 3 items per clothing line, right? So 3 light, 3 medium, and then I'm going to craft a full set of heavies. What that's going to do for me is I can put on the 3 lights, and that will give me the light armor skill line. Then I'm going to put on the 3 mediums. That will give me the medium armor skill line. And then I'm going to put on all my heavies. That will give me the heavy armor skill line. So in order to level the light and the medium, you need at least 1 piece of that armor on at all times while you're leveling. So I'll take 1 piece from each, and I'll wear it. Typically it'll be like a belt and a head, or a belt and gloves, something like that. It's not overly important which ones you're doing as you're leveling, but it is important that you have at least 1 item from each one slotted at all times. So if you're using leveling gear while you're leveling, make sure that you either craft yourself or have someone craft you a light and a medium, because later on you're going to get the benefits of having those through the passives for the lights and the mediums. But you see here I'm crafting those right now. So I just craft them, I place them on, and then I go on uh, I go on and continue to move over to the uh, gentleman who will give us the new quest line for um, dealing with alchemy, enchanting, and provisioning. So alchemy is potions, enchanting is glyphs, and then provisioning is food. So you see here, I craft through that. And you're going to want to um, craft and decon as many items as you can as you're leveling up, because that's going to level those skills up with you. Especially if it's your very first character ever. That will take some time because you're going to need to either acquire things to decon. You get more experience going towards your crafting level from deconning things that you did not craft yourself. So things you find in the landscape or things that are found from buying them through a vendor. Other than you will get if you craft them yourself. So the fastest way to level those skill lines is to do that. All right, so as you can see, we're going to put all this gear on, and then that's going to do one of two things. It's going to fill us up with gear, gives us more stats, gives us more protection for when we do start the main storyline, and then we're going to it's also going to allow us to level all three tiers at the same time. So now we're going to go meet the gentleman who's going to give us the other quest lines. So real quick, you can see light, medium, and heavy armor quest lines, and then these are the passives and the active ability for each one of the lines. Let's go ahead and continue. We will meet we met her outside of the Fighters Guild Hall, and now we're going to meet the other guy inside of the Mages Guild Hall. They are in the same locations at every starter city, so whether you're Daggerfall Covenant, Eldermary Dominion, or Ebonheart Pact, they're going to be in the same location. So this gentleman we're going to talk to, we're going to start provisioning, basically creating food. And in his trunk he has the first recipe for us. You can buy recipes, which he tells you later on, and you can pick them up as rewards for killing mobs. You find them inside of barrels or items as you're questing. So you'll see they come pretty easy. The easiest place is just go to the tavern and purchase them. You should be able to get them, and they scale based off of the number of points that you put into each of your crafting skills. So now you can see we're going to go to the Rosy Lion Inn, which is where we met the Undaunted. And as soon as we get there, we're going to go inside. We're going to find the fireplace, which is where you make all of your food and your drinks. Any kind of cooking fire will allow you to do that. Now the add-on I have makes it pretty easy. It's called Craft Store, and basically if you have the materials, it'll be on the list. You click it and it crafts you one of that item. Then we're going to show it to him. He's going to say that you did a good job. He's going to give you some experience for doing it. And then you're going to pick the next certification that you want. So now we're going to do alchemy next. because it is closest to where we currently are located. So what I did there was I accidentally took an item from the table, considered stealing. It's a no-no in the game. And what I like to do is when I get a stolen item in inventory, I just get rid of it. And then you'll see here in a few minutes, one of the guards in town will stop me and they'll make me pay a fine. It's pretty much how easy it is. If you have, something like that against you, whether it's for murder or for stealing an apple, you just pay the fine and you're fine. So now we're going to go over to the alchemy table, and just like before, we have the add-on craft store, which will allow us to craft, which will help us with crafting alchemy items. And it's very easy. You just click on what benefit you want and what type of solvent you want to use. It gives you a bunch of choices. As you do the unknowns, they will become known, and you'll learn, like right here, it's going to show you that those two items restore health. So now you know when you go back and you look at it again, it'll tell you if you want to restore health, use these two items. And now we're going to go take care of enchanting. Then I'm going to unlock under my one-handed shield, I'm going to unlock puncture and low slash. Those are two skills that you're going to want on all of your tanks no matter what. And then I'm going to use another skill point here, my racial passive, but you can see there's alchemy. That's where you add your skill points. Medicinal use is very good because it makes the effects last longer when you drink a potion. And then I'm going to add the skill point from my racial passives. Put on the two jewelry items, which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. And then we're going to go do our enchanting survey, our enchanting. So some places are better than others as far as crafting goes. Some places have everything centrally located. Some places do not. Daggerfall here is pretty well spread out, but places like Vardenfell and Somerset have locations that have everything kind of all in one spot. So there are places in each section where you can do that. So we just did the enchanting one, exact same way. You click on the glyph that you're making, and it makes it for you. And then we're all done. So that's all of the crafting lines except for jewelry crafting, which was added during the Somerset expansion. That's a jewelry crafting station. We'll open it up. You can take a look and see. You make rings and you make necklaces. It has its own set of traits. You'll be able to see here soon. When we click research, these are all the traits. For your jewelry. And what we're going to do now is we're going to, I'm going to show you that, here we go. So there we go. Now it's just, I pay. If you have a clemency ticket, you can use one of those, or you can pay the gold. I usually just pay the gold. It's never very much unless you've murdered someone. Those can be kind of hefty. But you'll see we picked up enchanting and we picked up jewelry crafting. Now, if you are in a guild, one of the easiest ways for you to figure out, or for you to get to different locations in the world, inside of Tamriel, is to go to your guild tab, take a look at your guild roster, and see who is where. So we're going to go to Somerset because that's where you will pick up the quest line, just like you did the quest line for the other crafting uh, lines. You'll pick it up in Alinor in Somerset. You can uh, transport yourself there via Way Shrine, and then you'll have to ride across the map in order to get there. Or you can do what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to find someone who is already there at that location. So hide the offline people, go to your guild roster list, find someone who's already located where you want to go, and then you're going to right click and you're going to travel to player. And that will put you to the Way Shrine that is closest to where that player was. Now, you don't know exactly where in Somerset people are, so you'll see when I first travel into Somerset, it's going to take me to the same Way Shrine that I would have been able to get to on my own. And then I'm going to transfer. Then I'm going to try to do it a couple more times. And, I eventually find someone who is over in Somerset. You can see it brought me to here. I thought for a second about just riding over, but I figured I could find another person. So I find another person on the guild roster who is in the location that I want to go to. And this is the game you have to play sometimes. Just try your best to pick wisely. But you do a couple of these, you'll get where you need to go. And it'll be a lot faster than it would be riding all the way there. So we'll continue, go through the loading screen, and then hopefully we will pop up in Alinor. And here we go. Yes, so now we are popping up in Alinor. We've discovered the Way Shrine. We're in the center of the city, and now we're going to move down to the crafting area, which is going to let us pick up the skill line for crafting jewelry. Now the purpose of doing these certifications is once you've done the certifications, it will allow you after level 6, which you'll see in a second, to do what are called crafting writs. And every day you'll come to a location in a major city. This is the location here in Alinor. And you will first we'll come here and there'll be a gentleman standing there, and that will be the guy that will give you the crafting certification for jewelry. It's the exact same way you did the other ones. You'll craft a piece, you'll bring it back to him, then he'll tell you to decon it, you'll go back, you'll decon it, you'll bring it back, he'll tell you, yep, that looks good, and then he'll certify you as a jewelry crafter. And then when you come in here, at these two boards, you will see crafting writs. So you click on the two boards, and it will give you the writs for every crafting line. Then you will come to each crafting station and craft your writ. There is an add-on called Dagobon's Lazy Writ Crafter, which will automatically craft them for you, except for alchemy and for provisioning, which saves you a lot of time. But basically, you look at the writ, tells you what to craft. You craft the items on the writ. Once you've done all of them, generally you will collect them up, and you'll take them all at once over to this location, and there will be a location in each city. It's usually fairly close to where your crafting stations are, and you will turn them in. So you'll just place them in these boxes. As you place them in the boxes, you will get experience for crafting them, and then you also get crafting materials. This is the best way to get crafting materials in order to make sure that you have everything you need in order to continue on crafting and leveling your crafting and to continue on doing crafting runs. You'll also pick up items like crafting surveys, which we'll go over in another video, but will allow you to go collect items out in bulk. Basically, the crafting writs are the Costco of Tamriel. So now we're going to go back to Daggerfall. And as we get back to Daggerfall, you'll see we've done pretty much everything we need to do You will gain 5 or 6 levels, and you will be ready to go into the main storyline, which is where we're going to go. So we're going to go to where the benefactor is on the map, and we're going to talk to him, and then that will initiate the main storyline. That will take you through. Now, I do highly recommend doing the main storyline because the main storyline will provide you with a good amount, and that's where we're going right there to talk to the benefactor. We'll provide you with a lot of experience. It will provide you with some jewelry and weapons, some gear, and it will provide you, most importantly, with skill points. And you need skill points to level your skills and to modify them based off of the type of build that you're doing. So we're going to go into this house here. This is where the benefactor is, kind of hunched over by the bed. I always recommend checking in this house, check the trunks. As long as it doesn't say that you're stealing, you can collect whatever you need to collect. Bookshelves are especially good because they will automatically give you 1 level on some of your crafting, 1 level on your, a random skill line, and then you will come here to this gentleman. You'll talk to him, and then that will start the series into the main storyline. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I'm very happy that I'm able to do this type of video to show you what I do when I'm getting started in game. This should take you about 30 to 45 minutes to do, and it just sets you up for success. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. All the videos in the future will be a little bit shorter. Like I said previously, I'm Kazdan from Survivors Gaming Union, and thank you for watching my video. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification tab so that you get an alert as I upload more content each week. Also, give me a thumbs up, and feel free to leave me a comment. Thank you very much again, and I'll see you in game.